Welcome to Urban Light. In fact, if there was a few tumbleweeds blowing around, it would look like an Old West ghost town. The remains of what used to be Fiesta Village. Not too surprising because this is close to the Fiesta Mall area, which was built maybe 20 years ago and is now in the natural cycle of urban decline and decay. I'm still in the same parking lot. For those of you that know Mesa, Arizona, that Bank of America building is the tallest building out here in Mesa. You can see it for a long way when you're coming westbound on the 60 freeway. But this is an interesting shot because in the background you've got the bank, and in the foreground you've got a busted down, fenced off Bennigan's restaurant, which was new no more than about 10 years ago. Alright, we've moved about 5 miles to the east down the road. We're not in Urban Blight anymore. We're in Tony Dana Park. Still in Mesa, but just adjacent to what the people who live there like to call Val Vista Lakes, the Beverly Hills of the East Valley. It's a nice center, but there's sure a lot of vacancies in it still. Vacant. 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 Then Gymboree, whatever that is. Okay, you're thinking, well, this is a pretty Tony shopping center. We've got an AJ's Fine Foods down there, lots of upscale ladies' clothing stores. We've got a Barnes & Noble, and these buildings were just completed about a year ago. That would be in 2008, early 2008, and this is a high-rent district, and maybe they were just asking too much money. Maybe that's why they're vacant. Just thought we'd look at one more thing before we leave Dana Park. We're looking at Barnes & Noble right now. Going to what you would think would be the most prime location in the whole complex, right between Barnes & Noble and AJ's Fine Foods. But my goodness, it's empty too. Well, let's step away from the commercial buildings for a minute and go over to some office structures built directly across the street from Dana Park. It's going to be where the executives were, maybe some high-end retail, other corporate things as well. They are not doing so well. Vacant. Empty. Bankruptcy auction. Kind of an interesting scene. There's a Ryder truck and the people are hauling out the last remnants of pianos from the Yamaha piano shop. Just a little scene setting for you. We're now about 5 miles further to the east. It's not swanky like Dana Park. We're not next to Val Vista Lakes, but we're right by the beautiful golf course in Superstition Springs. And it is sided by houses which definitely are not in decline. Those are very nice neighborhoods. And yet, we're going to go and look and see what we find in the way of offices and commercial buildings within, oh, let's say within about 2 to 3 miles of here. Looks beautiful, except it's hot as heck. Here's a little glimpse of the fairways at Superstition Springs. It's the business office complex, which backs right up to the golf course. First American Title, empty. Parking lot, virtually empty. Down there, Guaranteed Title, empty. That orange sign is UTAZ. They're selling or leasing it if they can. Now, I don't want to fool you. This center is not 80 or 90% empty. It's probably about 25% empty. only 25% empty, and it was built about 4 years ago. It's one of the best places to be out here in East Mesa. Welcome to Kiowa Village, directly across the street from the Superstition Springs Golf Course where we just were. These places are about 1¼ years old, and you can see there's still a few vacancies. Empty, 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 empty. Never did get anybody in them. Check the parking lot at Kiowa Village. The buildings are not only empty, but the parking lot too is virtually empty. This is a new commercial built in a great location on a good part of town. Just for your reference, let's go across Signal Butte. Not Signal Butte, Power, excuse me. And there's the golf course. Looks like it's just about time to bring in the portable fencing to secure this empty building, doesn't it? Used to be an Albertsons. Used to be the anchor of a pretty nice center. We're still in Superstition Springs. How does this parking lot look to you? Empty. So much empty land. Albertsons left. And nobody has come in. And most, if not all, of the little affiliate buildings that you see attached, the little satellite companies like hairdressers and mail shops, they left. No traffic. They're gone. I think you're getting the point. I'm not going to drag this on too much longer. We're going to make one more stop and then it's time to draw some conclusions. As recently as 1.5 years ago, if I were standing right here where I am, I would have been run down as if I was standing in the fast lane on the Superstition Freeway. We're still in Superstition Springs. This is the northern end of Superstition Springs. You can see this was the anchor store, and it was Costco. I don't know if you can read it, but this location is closed. No, Costco didn't go out of business. They just went to a new store, and absolutely no new business has stepped up to come in here. Look around where you are. We've been in Mesa, Arizona, from the western end to the eastern end, but I'll bet if you stop to look in many areas, you're going to find your commercial areas, your office buildings are just like this. What are we going to do with this land? Nobody's going to move in here anytime soon. I would venture for 5 years at least. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Are we going to put homeless people in these buildings? Let's take a look. I bet you could. Sort of like the Superdome, huh? I bet you could put a lot of homeless people in there. I don't know how much fun that would be to live in there. But there's going to be a lot of people that don't have homes. Anyhow, here's the point. Sorry to say, but I really believe that we are on the verge of a commercial real estate crash that's going to dwarf the residential real estate crash. We better get used to seeing ghost towns in the middle of our communities and try and figure out what are we going to do with them. Seriously, dig up the blacktop, put in crops? I don't know. But it's an interesting problem, and it's been sneaking up on us when we've been thinking about the election and the residential real estate boom. And more and more and more, we're going to see this store closed. Running on empty. Give it some thought. We got to figure out what to do. A lot of this going around, isn't there? Farewell, Circuit City. We knew you well. I enjoyed coming here. Circuit City was one big one to go. There's going to be more, too. I don't know. Anybody got any ideas about who's going to be next? Your guess is as good as mine.